So without wasting much time, let me invite our next speaker for the corporate address. She is Miss Avantika Musipatla. She is the Customer Success Head from FinanceSpeed. We are happy to announce that FinanceSpeed is also a partner in our initiative of Education Leadership Conclave. They are the associate partner. So may I please invite Miss Avantika for the address?
Thank you, Mr. Chandan.
Yeah.
Thank you. First of all, I really thank you for giving me this opportunity today on this platform to introduce about my company. To tell you very briefly, we are Mumbai-based finance company, and we are Google incubated, and also we are listed into Forbes. And we actually provide fee financing to schools and educational institutions. So our vision is to secure holistic education globally. That's our vision. And our services are, we are into fee financing, like I already said, and we also have content learning platform, and we're also into lending. So that's basically about our products and services in brief. I'd like to share my screen so that I can take you through a small presentation. Yeah, could you please confirm if you can see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it. You need to keep it in a full screen format.
You can go to the page view option.
Yeah, right.
No, the first one is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So what really happening these days, especially during pandemic, is that for most of the educational institutions, there's cash burn, and there is no really sort of cash inflow from parents. I mean, they're struggling to get their fees collected, and there is no revenue to pay to the management as well. This is like a catch-22 problem for educational institutions right now. So because of this, they're not able to give quality education to the students. Even the faculty or the management is not being properly addressed, and sort of there is a mismatch between the school's vision, and also a lot of students find their quality education being disturbed. That's where we come into the place. And what we offer is that we offer fee financing loans to parents, and that this is completely no cost EMI, no processing fee, nothing. So it is just their fees, which will be paid in easy monthly installments. What school receives is that today, if a parent pays their first EMI with us, their fees with us, we will directly transfer the entire fees to the school, and they get the whole fees upfront. So by doing this, we are giving a benefit to the school to receive the entire fees upfront, and even parents are having a less burden to pay their fees in installments. That is again with no cost and no EMI. They can spend their revenue. The school can again distribute the revenue in different platforms. Like for example, as you can see here, they can spend it on the digital learning content right now, which is of a lot of use. Online learning is what is happening everywhere, and they can even spend it on their infrastructure. They readily have cash which can be utilized everywhere and anywhere. So yeah, so that's our solution. FinanceSpeed pays fees to the school today on behalf of the parents. They'll receive the entire amount. FinanceSpeed, we collect it from the parents, that too in zero cost and zero EMI, nothing. We are not even gonna guarantee. We are not even gonna take guarantee from the school that the parents will receive. It's completely our responsibility once they are tied up with us. We are not taking any sort of security collaterals. Instead, we are providing few benefits, like they're going to get insurance from us subjected to a few terms and conditions. We're going to cover all the payments, and we can also see an increase in admissions here, since we are facilitating to parents' requirements, and there is also a reduction in dropouts. Apart from this, we're also into content sharing platform, like I said. Nowadays, everything is digital. We all know it. Online learning is the way to go to the future. So we have also introduced few platforms where students can learn easy modules online with the help of FinancePeer ED. So everything is in one place. They just need to download an app, and they can start accessing their online content, learning content. They can even access their uh, uh, school fee financing page, everything in one place. Just have to download the app. So that being said, we've established in 2017, and till now, we've tied up with almost 1450 educational institutes, and we've got almost 4 lakh plus students on board with us, and we've almost covered around 40 plus cities and growing. We have some of our top schools and educational institutions tied up with us, as you can see here on my page, and we're just growing our portfolio right now. Uh, so that's about it. Here are quick contact details. You can reach out to us on financepeer.com, or you can call us. We are available almost on all platforms. I would also like you to take through one of our short ad which we have recently, yeah.
Yes, Avantika. You're over. Is it done? Am I audible, Avantika?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. Your presentation is over?
Yes, could you not see my screen? I think I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
sharing
yeah.
a video.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We saw that. The contact
Okay,
details, we
yeah.
saw that.
Yes. So that's about FinancePeer in a nutshell. Yes.
So great, Avantika. So thank you so much, and even we thank Finance Peer for supporting us in this mission and the vision which we are going ahead with this. So technology companies and the corporates like you is actually showing the right, pathway, and somewhere we can look for the collaboration opportunities, the networking opportunities with the leading institutes of higher education and school education who are looking in terms of any financial association. So here we have Finance Peer with us. We can reach them anytime. We are the connecting points with them. So and thank you so much for a lovely
Absolutely.
presentation, Avantika. I would
Thank you so
again
much,
like
Mr.
to invite you to join the same panel we have. So going ahead with now, we have the first panel for the day on higher education. Let me invite Professor Ujjwal Kumar Chowdhury ji. He is the Pro Vice-Chancellor of Adamas University, Kolkata. He would be the session moderator. I welcome you in today's panel, Ujjwal sir. Then joining him are the eminent speakers, eminent panelists, starting from Dr. D.N. Rao. He is the president of Vignana Jyothi Society from Hyderabad. Professor Prem ji, he is the chairman, board of governors, IITs, Dhanbad, pro-chancellor, professor of Eminence and chief mentor, the NorthCap University, Gurugram. Dr. D.N.S. Kumar, pro-vice-chancellor, Sushant University. Mr. Abhishek Mohan Gupta ji, he is the pro-chancellor, Jagran Lake City University. Dr. R.S. Bawa, pro-chancellor, Chandigarh University. And Avantika, the customer success head from Finance Peer. This panel is going to speak on the virtual experience synchronization, innovative pedagogy for the fast forward future. So over to you, Ujjwal sir. Please lead this panel.
Allow my video, please. The video is not allowed.
Host, can we request you to please give the access to the videos of the panelists?
So you can switch on the video.
No, it is not. Now it's come. Now it's come. Thank you. Thank you, Chandanji. I was listening to the last panel and it was quite interesting to know some of the practices, some of the innovations that have been just now mentioned. And Dr. Vishwajit Saha is an old friend. We have been there in many programs. It's good to listen to him as well. This particular session focuses on virtual experience synchronization. Sounds very heavy, right? Find the fault with Chandan and Rahul for that. They have given a heavy title. The second part is interesting. Innovative pedagogy for a fast forward future. Now I can understand a bit. So we are talking about innovative pedagogy. What should be done in the new normal to make education go fast forward? Yes, there have been many challenges of education and of life in general during this period. But having said that, for sure, there has been a lot of benefits as well as we go ahead. Can we have the screen of, I don't understand, there is a name on the screen, just sort. Can we have the panel rather than this sort of screen?
So we request all the panelists to kindly switch on their videos so that we are able to see the panelists for this session.
But you can, at any point of time, you can focus on the speaker as such, then the screen cannot be just a name or something like that. Okay, we go ahead with the discussion. You manage the technology. The focus now is that there would not be a return to January 2020 situation ever again. In many ways, and education is surely one of those many ways. Education has forever ahead has come to stay blended. To what extent will it be blended will depend on how many days regular physical classes continue and what are the individual skill set and resources of institutions to make it truly blended. Having said that, there are certain challenges therein. I must begin by mentioning and reminding everyone, 283 million students are there from school to university at this point of time in India, according to government statistics, which is above 28 crores out of the 135 crores. And these are formal education, those who are in formal education from class 5 onwards till graduation. Out of this, there are reports which say that only 28%, which is around maybe 8 crores, are actually in digital education. So those who are listening to this program, those who are the students of the universities who are represented here, are among those lucky 28% youngsters, because more or less 100% of our students are getting online education. There is 21% of the population, student population, which may be around 6.5 crores, who are having some access in the form of, whether it's in the form of what I call WhatsApp or Facebook or something. They have some access, but they do not have access of regular online education. And the remaining 51%, mind you, it's almost 15 crores, have no access to any form of education whatsoever in the last 170, 80 days. This is reality of the life. We might debate on things to do better, but that betterment is touching only 28% and maybe a fraction of the remaining other 21%. But this 51% depends on digital connectivity. जिस तरह से शिक्षा, स्वास्थ्य, रोटी कपड़ा और मकान, for any dignified life, these 5 things are important elements of dignified life. Similarly, digital access, digital connectivity has come to be the 6th one. Keeping this in mind, we need digital connectivity, and for that the government, the private sector and the civil society all have to come together. I'm not taking time to speak on that. I've recently written in a newspaper on how to bridge the digital divide. Yes, many of us have started taking steps, but much more is required. Having told that, those of our students who are already on the digital platform and will be on blended platform going ahead, just now UGC has said yesterday that from November 1, we can start our classes. Hopefully we can, and there should not be a surge of the cases anymore. If that's the case, even then it will be blended education going ahead. And this blended education has to be really innovative to make education fast forward. And how can we do that? How can we make education fast forward? How can you bridge the digital divide? How can we bring an effective blended education and not just open source material and lecturing online? How can we make it go beyond that? These are the things that we'll discuss today. Due to lack of time, I will not spend any more time on introductory comments. one of our panelists and Honorable Pro-Chancellor of Jagran Lake Society, Lake City University, Madhya Pradesh, Sri Abhishek Mohan Gupta ji, has to leave a bit early. He has requested the organizers to allow to have him first. So I have the pleasure of inviting. This is a very beautiful university. I've gone there once when my friend Manish Verma was there. I'd gone there once and had a lecture also, and also had a lunch there. So I request Abhishek Mohanji to speak first. After all, नमक का हिसाब बड़ा important होता है, तो मैं आप ही को पहले अनुरोध करता हूं कि आप पहले अपनी बात रखें, फिर हम लोग बाकी आगे चर्चा जारी रखेंगे. अभिषेक जी, please.
Thank you, Professor Chowdhury and ASMA for having Jagran Lake City University for this Education Leadership Conclave. I think as Professor Chowdhury was saying that things have just really changed, and it might not just go back to what we were pre-COVID times. जैसे I think AC और BC होता था, वो pre-COVID post-COVID हो गया है. So pre-COVID times is difficult to reach. Although I must really appreciate, especially for the higher education segment, they have been a little more clearer than what school education has been, in giving clear guideline what is to be done, how it has to be done. So hoping things remain normal and become normal or less bad, and we can open, we are ready to open it up. But obviously blended learning, one thing which this COVID has taught us, that blended learning is acceptable. I think for technology, most of the time, it is always one big push which is required. And I think this COVID has given that one very big push, where the acceptance of technology in learning has been taken care of. And I think that now people are mentally prepared as well, that fine, I mean, technology is there, online home learning can happen. So I think the world has changed very quickly in last 5 to 6 months. We really need to now focus on the delivery of things, because blended learning or online learning has a very different challenge than a classroom delivery format. I think with this online opportunity, and even when we start, now the faculty has an opportunity to become more facilitators than focus only on delivery. So now with this blended learning, I think what we have tried to do in our university, luckily we are starting our classes as per the unlocked 4 with limited numbers from next Monday, where the labs and everything is required. So what we have done is that we have given the basic instructions being done online, and then more interaction and more discussion are happening in the classroom. And I think that is the way ahead for a long time to come. And it will give the faculty that much more space to innovate, to be the facilitators for our students. And I think with this blended mode, we will be able to even change the way our pedagogy is delivered. We can become more student centric. I think it is now possible when students do their bit of background reading when they are at their home, and come and discuss examples and case studies in the classes. The faculty will be able to focus more on skill delivery than just delivering of knowledge, which is, I think, very important in the times to come, because as we are moving ahead, we are focusing more on skills rather than just degrees. So I think higher education is going to go through a big change, and all our faculty members and the institution have to really put their thinking cap now and see how we can really blend things, make it multidisciplinary, because with blending, the opportunity of getting multidisciplinary also comes in. where you don't have these issues of timetabling and those kind of operational issues happening. So I think it's an exciting time. It's a time for a little bit more of experiment happening. And I think let's all embrace the change which is going to be there for years to come now, and be prepared and focus on a lot of training for our faculty members, especially because it's going to be a massive change where suddenly not only the students who are scrutinizing you on the screen, but their parents and the peers at home are also looking at you and seeing what is exactly the faculty member is delivering. So a big part on technology is going to play a very huge part with smooth LMS, your virtual labs coming into picture. So things are going to go for a change. Let's all embrace it and accept it as it comes. I think that's what my statement will be.
Very well said. Let's embrace the change. One, we don't have a choice. And second, it's a better choice. Yes. The change is better. It's for the better. And yes, that's very well said. And I really appreciate this point that the teachers have to be trained a lot. Because it's not by the old degrees that we have earned 40 years, 30 years, 20 years ago that we can maneuver and negotiate in the new normal. Because the class, first of all, please understand, when a student comes in the classroom, he enters the university campus, there is some sort of sanity and calmness that comes within the child. Comes inside the class, there's a teacher, there are 40 other physically present. So the entire environment calms him and brings him to some sort of discipline. But now in digital classroom, he's listening to the lecture from the private space of his home. And there is chaos at home. There are sometimes less number of rooms. There is no privacy many a time. And there could be anything. They could just switch off the audio and the video and may not be around. So engaging the learner is the biggest challenge today. Engaging the learner it was a challenge always. Attendance was falling in most of universities. But however, whenever they were in the class, they were attentive largely. Today, even inside the class, whether they're attentive or not online, nobody knows. So the entire content has to change. Flipped classroom is the order of the day. But we'll talk on that going further. Let me now invite the next speaker, Dr. D.N. Rao, Vigyan Jyothi Society, the president of that. In Vigyan Jyothi Society, Dr. Rao is a very leading educationist. Can I ask the host to bring Dr. Rao's introduction on screen? Yes, Dr. Rao there. Dr. D.N. Rao, president of Vigyan Jyothi Society, Hyderabad, is an edupreneur. And he is also an industrialist. Can I request Dr. Rao to speak next?
Thank you very much for inviting me. And thank you, ASMA, for again inviting me again for the nth time. It's very surprising. A year ago, almost, in a similar meeting, we were asked a question. What is it that hasn't changed for the last 1 century in India, or probably generally abroad? All of us were a little bit surprised, but it turned out to be, it is the education that hasn't changed for the last 1 century. It's the same school, blackboard, teacher teaching, student pretending as if he's listening and understanding, etc. That's what was the scene mostly till last year. And this year, today, like you were mentioning, that we have to actually refer the dictionary to find out what does this mean. Virtual experience synchronization. Virtual experience synchronization. Yeah, there are many gadgets that are going around, but it hasn't become all that popular as on today. And then you also titled it as an innovative pedagogy for a fast-forward future. It's very nice. It also, I think, probably as just as an example, I want to mention, I think the change is going to happen in a multiple times than what we have seen before. I have seen the change happening physically at the education institutions. Correspondingly, in the industry also, change is happening at an accelerated pace. Work from home has become a normal almost. And not only that, the product designs. For example, you take an electrical vehicle, EV. People were planning for 2035. Today, come COVID, come the improvement in environment, people are talking about doing it in 2025, 10 years ahead of the schedule. Similarly, in the education domain, so many things are happening. What should have happened about 10 years from now is happening now. And the most important thing is, what a flexible population that we have, adaptive. The teachers, the students, the managements, within 6 months, they have adapted so well to these new technologies. It's mind-boggling. I think it's in the blood of Indians. Now, coming back to the new pedagogies, at Vignana Jyothi, almost 10 years ago, what we're talking about, the immersive experience through virtual experiences, how do we create it in a classroom? Was the topic that we discussed. And in fact, we have coined a few words, and one of the first words that we have coined is presencing. Presencing means to be present, sense, experience, and extrapolate. These are the 4 phases of education. To be present in the class, now virtually, to sense it, what we are talking, more important to experience it, and the last one is to extrapolate it. This is what education is for at Vignana Jyothi. And in fact, we are going a step further and coined this word presencing and created a course called Presencing and Design Thinking in a first-year, first-term course. Design thinking brings in an additional dimension of empathy along with the other 4 terms. And we find that the students are really excited about it. Design thinking in the first year with the concept of presencing has done wonders for us. And very last year, we have brought in another term called vertical literacy. Most of our literacy is horizontal learning. We learn. For what? We do not know. So we brought in another term known as vertical literacy. Along with it, some of the courses that are known as now as CSC and artificial intelligence, CSC and data analytics, instrumentation engineering with Internet of Things. So you have a learning at the horizontally and you have a learning vertically. So we call it as vertical literacy. I think this is how most of our courses are structured at Vignana Jyothi. And I have 2 or 3 other points which I want to share with you. As I said, I think the change that has happened in the last 6 months or 7 months is what we call the Industry 4 technologies are almost imposing onto the, or coming into the institutions. Artificial intelligence, data analytics, robotics, all these things are coming into the industry. And especially about COVID, at Vignana Jyothi, we have utilized this time as a thinking process. And in fact, we have come out with a manual known as Post-Lockdown Restart Manual, Framework for Prevention and Mitigation of COVID-19. The importance of this one is, our aim of doing this one is, how do you use this restart so that when the lockdown ends, you're at a higher potential than what you were before. This is an opportunity where you have to take the institution to a greater potential, and when you restart, you restart with a greater glory and greater vision, etc. In fact, this restart manual, which we used extensively the philosophy of our Prime Minister of Saptapadi, of restarting, okay, that he coined the word in, I think on 11th of March, for containing and mitigating the COVID-19. We have used extensively of that one, the philosophy of that. And then coming back to what it is going to happen is education and other basic things for citizens, they are going to take a big change. We have seen everywhere how the medical facilities are inadequate, how educational facilities, including the bandwidth, is inadequate, etc., etc. We found a lot of gaps in the basic necessities of the citizens. And this, when you restart, when we go ahead as far as the education is concerned, I think there is going to be a tremendous, tremendous change. As far as Vignana Jyothi is concerned, this brought in new terms into our magazines. Now our slogans are society and happiness first, even before GDP and growth. The second maxim is share and care. The third maxim is, and the most important thing, the maxim is, we have forgotten our ancient wisdom. Our third maxim is, bring forward the ancient wisdom. With the result, we are doing even the simple things like following the Saptapadi program and combining this ancient wisdom. We have actually installed Ayush counters. Instead of coffee days, we have Ayush counters now in our campuses. Okay. With this, we see, we feel, and we are reacting and proacting for the change in the education system. And it's so nice that I could share with you. And thank you very much again.
Thank you. Thank you. That reset concept and the compassion concept was very, very good. In fact, one of the key things that we also tell on our campus, I mean, we all know that passion is required, but not just passion, but compassion. That's the new slogan post-COVID. Passion was required always. To do anything, one has to be passionate. But now moving ahead, not just passion, but compassion is the focus area. Pro-sensing, very beautiful idea, pro-sensing that has been told. I was remembering that how some of my students who are in the border of Bengal and Bangladesh, who did not have connectivity during this time and did not have vehicles to move because it was lockdown, used cycles to go miles to areas where they can access the study materials online. There is one teacher, Subratapati, who made with old umbrellas, he made a wooden plank, he made a small sitting space above a tree top, 6 miles away from his home in interior of Bankura district, a very rural district, to create a platform from where he could connect to his students. Because there can be a lockdown because of physical challenges and the disease challenge, but there cannot be a lockdown of learning. Yes, to all the teachers here who are present, while doctors and many of our relatives, cousins, friends are doctors and doing fabulous work, while doctors were saving the world, you and me and people like us in teaching community, the teachers were shaping the world. And we will continue to do that in spite of all the challenges that might be coming. We need to be flexible and adaptive. That's a great perspective that is being brought. Crisis into opportunity, I think that's the leading suggestion that has come. Yes, this crisis has made us smarter. We are getting into digital transformation. We are creating our own MOOCs, for example, our own study materials, proprietary learning resources. We use Swayam, yes, very good. We also use many other large open sources, massive open learning resources. But there is also a tendency, and the new strategy that has come in many universities, we have also started here, that we are creating our own study proprietary learning resources, virtual labs and all. So that's also significant going ahead. This would not have been weakened unless this situation would have come. I invite the next speaker, a very towering academician of India, Professor Prem Vrat, the Pro-Chancellor and Chief Mentor of the NorthCap University, Gurugram. I had the opportunity to participate in another session with him. So it's a great opportunity to once again have him and listen to him in this program. So Professor Prem Vrat, please, for your initial comments. We have 4 more speakers to go, and we'll take questions. So we'll request everyone to be brief so that we can take. Yes,
Professor Ujjwal Chowdhury.
Yes.
Actually, my predicament is only that there are 4 speakers and there are 40 minutes available remaining out of the time slot. Now, I would like to make maybe things which have not been said. My only wish is that this new normal should not be COVID. I mean, we have been talking too much about new normal. To me, COVID is not a new normal. It's a transient bad dream, and hopefully it will pass on soon. But the new normal is the new education policy that has come in. Because now our future educational processes must be governed by the kind of policy document that the nation has given to itself. And therefore, to me, the new normal would be the new education policy in which technology has a place. As you will see that in the new education policy, about 40% of the total classes can be online, can be through virtual mode. And this to me is a new normal under the new education policy, maybe triggered by the corona. And therefore, as a result, to me, despite technology, the teacher's role would always remain center stage. I can never imagine a society in which all the technologies would replace a teacher. And therefore, to me, 4 important pillars of excellence for which a university must stand for are the faculty, funding, flexibility, and freedom. If you are able to create that environment of faculty, funding, flexibility, and freedom the new education policy gives us. Funding, perhaps it has not been very specific, but hopefully it should be spelled out. But the faculty remains a center stage, and to me, a major change would have to be by retraining the faculty. Unfortunately, the faculty, although the most important component in the system, but turns out to be the weakest element in the entire education chain. And therefore, a major focus on faculty retraining, making faculty very user-friendly in terms of technology. But imagine that this technology will not replace him, and therefore for that the role of faculty would have to be relearned as co-learners between student and faculty. To me, the distinction between student and faculty would vanish. Both of them are co-learners in the process, and the technology can be actually enabler in creating a greater degree of customer experience or the student experience. To me, student is many times is seen as a customer. To me, student might be our customer, but it's also a product. And therefore, the teacher and student co-learning together with the help of technology, and this will redefine the role of teacher. The role of teacher would be, as I see, I have worked in my entire life in IT system, involve, inspire, and transform. Not simply inform, involve. And therefore, the kind of pedagogy that you need to create would be give real life problems, real life challenges, so that rote learning would vanish. Give them challenging tasks, focus more on project-based learning, and create in fact, a flipped classroom. And the blended learning, in fact, is going to be the major factor in this whole process, because they are going to be enablers. And therefore, flipped classroom might be the kind of pedagogical change that would have to be brought in, which indeed, as I mentioned, not only teacher, the students would have to also be focused, because our students are not used to be studying at home and doing the reading the lecture beforehand, framing of questions and coming prepared for the discussion in the classroom. So while flipped classrooms is a great idea, but both teachers and students would have to reorient themselves to create that environment where flipped classrooms become very effective and blended learning becomes the order of the day. To me, there's no choice but to have blended learning, because with 40% online learning, it's now possible for any university or any institution, even in remote villages, to get in the best possible faculty resources available from wherever, and have the students who may be belonging to the maybe not so privileged class would have access to such outstanding teachers, because to me, a teacher is the most important component of educational process, and no amount of technology would be able to replace him or her. And therefore, as a result, what we need to do, focus on teacher reorientation, including, and for that, particularly, the teachers have to be empowered people. And since about 80% of our education in higher education and technical education in private hands, the teachers must be coming out free from fear of the unknown, fear from whatever, and innovation cannot flourish under the environment of fear, uncertainty about the job, about things, and therefore, and this is a job of the institution builders to create that environment where this kind of situation flourishes. And with that, the focus of virtualization, synchronization I mean, I first thought it was a very difficult term, but to what I make out of this, virtualization synchronized with reality. And therefore, virtualization must synchronize with reality. Artificial reality cannot replace real reality. Artificial intelligence cannot replace real intelligence, but synchronize the two. The technology becomes enabler to enrich the real. And that's what I could understand from this. And therefore, to me, the major guiding principle would be the NEP, which means education has to be holistic, flexible, innovative, modular, integrated, inclusive, multidisciplinarity, teacher focused, but student centric. And therefore, this is where the flexibility would be. The challenges now to the universities would be, since a student can take credit from anywhere and transfer it anywhere else, we have to remain competitive and create a great student experience so that they come to us. And I'm sure that with this, it can create the so-called design thinking. To me, it's a new term, but to me as a value engineering, I mean, if the design thinking creates a first thing, design your thoughts before you can design the products and systems, and therefore create a creative environment, which in fact in classical value engineering that we were teaching, which we know called design thinking. So design thinking is a way of addressing problems, creating designs, process and systems systematically with creative ideas and solution. The focus should not be in problem solving, but problem finding. And there's so many problems the society has, but we do not encourage our students to find them and apply their mind to solve those problems to society. And therefore, new education policy, the new norm should be bring education closer to ground reality, and so that the focus on rote learning vanishes.
Thank you.
And so that this will take care. But to me, new normal would not be COVID.
Thank you.
COVID.
Thank you. The focus on the teacher brought forth very strongly. Thank you very much. That is the central message of Dr. Prem Vrat ji, that the focus has to be the faculty member. I would like to say that teacher and student words should be replaced by mentor and learner. A teacher teaches in the classroom. A mentor teaches within and beyond the classroom. A teacher teaches with a structured syllabus. A mentor begins with a structured syllabus, goes into organic syllabus. A teacher's focus is to finish the syllabus and prepare for the exams. A mentor's focus is to prepare the learner for lifetime. And there are many other benefits. The teacher is a sage on the stage. Mentor is an aggregator of knowledge. A teacher basically is focused on teaching based on his or her knowledge. A mentor inspires, motivates, as you have rightly said. Thank you for those points. And particularly in the context of the innovative pedagogy in this new normal, in the context of the new education policy and the COVID-inflicted situation, which might be temporary, but it has brought in good elements. I'd like to say that there are 4 things that we have to now look at, in particularly in online learning. First is the content creation, because giving a lecture is not enough anymore. So content creation, then content delivery, and learners' engagement, third point, because learner has to be engaged very interestingly. It is not enough because earlier learners used to come in the classroom. They are now at homes. And finally, learners' assessment, because examination system will also change, is already changing in the new situation or in the new normal. I invite the next speaker, Dr. D.N.S. Kumar, Honorable Vice-Chancellor of Sushant University. Dr. D.N.S. Kumar, please come and kindly give your perspective on the issue that has been taken up. Dr. D.N.S. Kumar, please.
Well, good afternoon to everybody. At the very outset, I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. And my job is made simpler and easy as Professor Prem, Vrat and Dr. Rao spoke so nicely and so insightful. When I take this topic, I remember the speech by the then Vice Chairman of Planning Commission, Dr. Mountek Singh Ahluwalia, when he was talking at the Kolkata Chamber of Commerce. He had made a point. If you want to develop the economy, you have to address three things. One is education, second one is health, and third one is infrastructure. During the last 6+ years, we are able to see some change in the infrastructure development. But unfortunately, again, we had neglected education and health. And this COVID has given the opportunity, rather it has made it compulsory for all of us to address the health sector and economy. Now, when we talk about virtualization, there are some good changes which have happened, but still the changes need to be much more. When Professor Chowdhury, in his introductory remark, he was making 51% of the students still are not having access to the net or the online, the platform. Is it possible then to take this online or virtualization across the country is a big question mark to us. Of course, the government is thinking about BharatNet, but we have to wait and see when this BharatNet is going to come. When we all are delighted about this online education, blended education, it is for we few that we have made a mark. But education sector is not we just few. Spread across the country with 40,000+ institutions, 900 universities, standalone institutions and all. If you look into the scenario in some of the educational institutions, still they are in the offline mode of thinking. They have no infrastructure. So that is a scenario. But at the same time, I would like to tell you with our experience at Sushant University, few good changes have happened. And one of the change that I would see, the COVID has improved or honed the skills, capabilities, and attitudes of all the stakeholders. COVID has made the teachers and students to put more effort, and for which all the time we used to struggle. During the offline mode or pre-COVID, I have to be very frank. What we used to do, we used to prepare for the lecture and we used to go and deliver the lecture. But today, the resources which are professors to the students are multi-fold resources. Therefore, the students are getting an opportunity and teachers are getting an opportunity. Rather, I would put this way, both the stakeholders have been made to put enough effort to hone the skill, capabilities and attitudes. It has not become student-centric. I would say it has become teacher-led education, wherein students are coming with multiple resources, multiple information, multiple knowledges, and teacher has to facilitate in addressing the issues and problems. It also was a Herculean task. I hope some of my panelists and people who are attending also agree with me. It used to be a Herculean task to train the teachers. But COVID has not left any opportunity to say no. You have to get trained yourself. At the same time, another scenario which always used to emerge and which we used to notice, and it used to take a lot of the effort to address that was, there was a gap between the junior people and senior people. All the time, the concept which we used to address was mentoring. It is the seniors who will mentor the juniors. But COVID has made the seniors to learn from juniors in one or other way. That is, reverse mentoring has started. At the same time, some of the professors have made it as an opportunity where in disciplines like hotel management, disciplines like design. They started the practicals from home. The institution can reimburse the expenses incurred afterwards. But the teachers showed how much passion with which they teach to the students. And we should not, we should not delay that opportunity of learning. At the same time, the institutions used to struggle to have industrial executives for good number of sessions, alumni, parents, then government machinery people. Now all these people were having enough time, and this gave an opportunity. This virtual reality gave an opportunity to engage the services, expertise, and knowledge base and application aspects from all such people. At the same time, as Professor Chowdhury also mentioned, it has given an opportunity for every one of us to learn at our pace and convenience. Earlier, that is during pre-COVID days, the students used to get the opportunity only once. Once that lecture has been delivered, that's it. But today, the lectures are getting recorded. The lectures have been passed to the students. Students can go through all those materials n number of times. So that has facilitated. At the same time, the window of opportunities to do the research has, magnified like anything. In my university, as Sushant University, the research output has increased threefold. Number of patents that we got are twofold. Number of publications that we carried are much more. So that is, the opportunities are many more. And it is up to the institutions and the teachers and the students how we have to make use of it. And this has become a reality to search where is the blue ocean for us. We were in the red ocean. We are with the same programs, with the same degrees, same approach, same pedagogy, same method. But today we have to find out a new way of dealing with the opportunities which are coming. That is, we have been moving from numbers to find where is a bigger picture for us. This bigger picture may be boutique programs, research opportunities, engagement of collaborators from international organizations, institutions on virtual mode, creating a new learning experience to the students. And also, this is not a simple task. This task has become a Herculean task and a very, calculatedly risky task. Because when we are on virtual mode, it is not the students only who are there in the classroom, the virtual classroom. Parents are also there. Sometimes siblings are there. As a professors, we have to be very careful. So in my assessment, there's a long way to go, and we'll be able to build a better future in terms of education. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar. Very well spoken about smartening up of the system, that we have all become virtually and otherwise technologically smarter. Indeed, making proprietary content of one's own, whether it's video, audio, podcast, slideshows and all that. And even trying to create the first semblance of virtual studios and virtual labs. We have started all doing that. I think 1 year ago, we couldn't even think of all this. We are very right. The other point very rightly once again mentioned by you at the very beginning was this digital divide, which you spoke about. And yes, we are waiting for BharatNet. The reality of the moment is that though the new education policy has spoken about 6% of India's GDP to be spent in public education, the reality is that this was also told in the Rajiv Gandhi's new education policy in the 1980s. But so far, no government, irrespective of political party, spent more than 3%. So we hope this 6% will be a reality in the coming year. And if this is a reality in the coming year, this additional money should first be spent for bridging the digital divide, because 51% of the students are outside any form of education in the last 6 months. And these things may continue. Many girls from the poorer families will drop out of education, unfortunately, because when the resources are scarce, the boy child gets the resource first, then the girl child when in poorer families. This is a reality in the villages and in the hinterland. And even on the other side, corporate social responsibility, CSR, 2% of profits have to be spent for CSR according to government. Why can't the corporate world for the next 1 or 2 years spend this 2% purely for creating digital access and digital connectivity into the hinterland, Once upon a time, the government used to give television sets to panchayats. Then cycles were given by many state government to girls who are passing class 10. Today, the tabs have to be given. The smartphones have to be given. The laptops have to be given. I mean, we can give our old individual, civil society itself can start a million mobile campaign by giving our own, equipments, old equipment, the way we give clothes which have become tight but not torn to some people who need it. Similarly, we can give our old laptops and old, mobile phones as well. So bridging the digital divide has to be the mission of the whole nation. We will acquire students from the well-to-do families. Yes, for private education, we need that. But we also have a social role, a bigger social perspective. Thank you for raising this issue once again and bringing how we as teachers are restructuring our daily work, our skill set, and resetting ourselves in a way for the new normal. We move to another very eminent educationist of India and very well-known name in North India, particularly Dr. R.S. Bawa, Pro-Chancellor of Chandigarh University. I invite him, sir. It would be my honor to listen to you. First time I'll be listening to you, though I've seen, I have seen some writings on you, but I'll be listening to you face-to-face first time. To Dr. Professor R.S. Bawa, Pro-Chancellor, Chandigarh University, please.
Boss, I request to please unmute yourself.
Sir, could you unmute yourself?
Sure.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. All the esteemed panelists and all the delegates who are online, thank you very much for this opportunity. I think a lot has been said about various aspects of virtual experience, synchronization, and new pedagogy required. I will just keep myself short because I think a lot of time has already been taken. I will start by saying that we are all what we are thinking and talking about is that we were not into, in fact, we were not on board in adoption of technology. And also we were not using real educational technology in most of our institutions. That's why this COVID situation hastened the whole use of technology, and some of us were forced into it. And that is why all this virtualization and its kind of synchronization with the reality. I normally am of the opinion that let us not lose reality in the light of virtualization. Virtualization, yes, it's going to be a part of the system, but it cannot replace the reality. And therefore, synchronization, yes. But if I say that it can replace the real situation, I think it is not. And very rightly said, COVID situation is something which is a passing phase. And we get back to, of course, it will be a new normal. But to my mind, new normal more is going to be related to the new education policy. And also the way we think, the way we wish to do things. I will give a couple of examples. Talking about use of technology and virtual experience, we were established in 2012, 8 years ago. And right from our second year, we have been using virtual experience of the student to our advantage. All the teaching material that his teacher would be using in the class was made available to the student beforehand. The classroom became more of an interactive session rather than a one monologue kind of a session. And also we created platforms where we provided a lot of online material to the students, available 24/7. Now I am putting this to the knowledge of everyone, because I think what is the requirement of the new normal to my mind are three things. One is flexibility. The learner must be facilitated. The learner's aspirations must be addressed. And the second is use of technology, which has been hastened by this COVID situation. Technology per se doesn't mean that connectivity is required at all times. For example, in my university, what we are doing is we are making the material available to the students beforehand. And again, the kind of technology that we use will be very, very important. And what has actually happened during this COVID situation is that we created our own UAMS. It was an in-house built, developed ERP solution, but we had to acquire a new technology. We had to acquire a new LMS, which is Blackboard. So we acquired it, and now it is more interactive, it is more facilitating to the student. So technology, but I think what is more important and very rightly pointed out, especially by Professor Prem, it is the faculty, it is the teachers who are going to make a difference. And there will come the innovation. Now, pedagogy will have to be changed. I'm sorry to point out that if we look at the curriculum of the best universities in the world and any university may not be much different. It is how you deliver. It is how you interact with the student. It is how the faculty prepare itself. And I'll give my own example. I've been a student of statistics. And when I used to teach, when I was a student, I started teaching. I used to think that my textbooks do not contain all the solutions, all the derivations. So if I give a couple of important derivations which are not available in the textbooks, I think I've done my job. And the student will be attracted to the class because I'm giving something extra. But that is no more valid because all those things are already available in the virtual world. Everything is available online. Therefore, a teacher will have to innovate in terms of bringing in new applications which happened yesterday. Bring in those applications which are happening around. Bring in those kind of applications and those kind of examples which attract the fascination of the student, which will attract the student, which will make the student believe that this teacher is something more than what is available in the virtual world. So my definition of a teacher is slightly different. It is all textbooks put together plus something. And that plus something is the innovation on the part of the teacher, and that something is the intellect of the teacher which goes into it. Design thinking. I think design thinking, again, teaching design thinking and practicing design thinking, I think there is a huge difference, and I think we must be practicing. We did an experiment. We asked first year engineering students to apply their branch, say for example, electrical. Go to your home, when you go after your first semester to your home, try to find something which you can improve about the electricity of your home. Try to find a problem. Now the problem with most of our students is, you give a problem, they'll give you a solution. But given a situation, they are not able to find any problem. What can be the problem where you can solve, what you can improve in the situation. So this is one experiment we did. The second experiment that we did was that we introduced research right from the beginning. So we are bringing out regularly for the last 5 years, an undergraduate journal of research, where we only publish the material and the research done by undergraduate students. And I'm very happy to share with you, research is mind-boggling. The results are mind-boggling. We have been able to file 700 plus patents in the last about 5 years. And out of that, about 100 patents are by first year students. So these kind of things are possible. And these are, I think, what is going to be the new normal. COVID, I think we should keep it away. What is new normal is you will have to India, the new education policy to my mind envisages India to be the most important education hub in the world, in the globe. Great. And that will be possible only if we bring our own education level beyond what is happening around the world. And this is possible. This is possible by training your teachers, by bringing your students, the best in your students. I think we can do it. So changing the pedagogy is the most important thing.
Thank you.
Synchronization with virtual world will take place automatically. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Baba. Thank you very much.